Thank you for coming here. And today, I want to talk to you all about web payments. So, from morning, you've all heard how great web is evolving. The offline experience is getting better. Push notifications are coming to web, and even a background refresh is something that only apps had all the time before. Now even it's coming to web with progressive web app. But one area that's kind of remained painful is when it comes to paying something on the web. When you're buying something and you get to a payment screen and there are too many things that user had to go through. That's what we're trying to improve here with Samsung and working with the web community, and I'm going to talk to you about a web standard today that will improve the checkout experience for everyone online. Before we go into more detail, let's talk about just the numbers. So one great number you're going to be, just in 2017, mobile commerce was 150 billion market. And what's very interesting about this is 66% of these purchases happened on the web, not the app, even though most of the people might be thinking I use mostly apps. But all these purchases, 66% of those happens on the mobile web, right? And we all know from recent studies that the web traffic to the sites have now, mobile browsers have surpassed the desktop browsers when it comes to traffic. So 54% of the traffic for websites now comes from mobile browser. However, the third number is what we're going to talk about today. It's the most concerning one. So exactly 66% lower conversion happens on the mobile web compared to desktop web. What that means is basically for every 100 people who go buy something on desktop, compared to that, mobile lacks 66%. Very less number of people actually finish buying. Why is that? Let's take a look at it. So if you want to buy something online today, what do you go to, right? So first obvious experience is you know what product you want to buy, so you search for something, and you'll get a list of results where you can buy it from, and you click on that website. Now let's say I want to buy a Dell laptop charger, so I'll search for it, I'll add it on the web page. All the brown bubble you guys see is number of tabs that I'm going through, okay? And each tab loads a new web page. And mobile browser and mobile network speed, loading each web page has its own time-consuming effect, right? So let's say I want to buy this product. The first step I do is I want to add this product to the cart. Now, great, it's added. I click again on checkout. Now, if I'm an existing user, I can sign in, I enter my email details and all that. If not, which is in this case, when I was going to buy this product, I had to click on create account, see all these number of things that you have to fill in and type, and after all the long typing, I'm done, and I click on all right. Now I'm create my account. I thought I'll be done, but not. Obviously, we have to now enter, okay, I need to buy this product, so where do we ship this? So enter your shipping address. So now again, going through one by one input box and typing all this information in. Once I have everything, I click on continue, right? So look at the number of steps and number of screens, number of page loads we're going through. And now, next option, I have to select the shipping option. I select the free one. I'm not in a hurry to get it. Continue. Next, the most important part that you entered is where you have to enter your credit card number and details, and you're ready to check out. So once I'm entered all my credit card numbers, now I'm click on place order. So you can see it took me 7 screens, 8 clicks, and multiple typing in each input boxes to finish my order. If I'm not completely patient, I would give up. I would give up buying this product. And it's not only me. The reasons why the checkout abandonment happened on mobile browser is these are the top reasons. The site wanted me to create an account, too long and complicated process. There's no cost up front. Website had errors, crashed because too many web pages. And I don't trust sites with my credit card information to buy this product. So no wonder, even though websites, a lot of traffic comes from mobile web, the conversion is lower because of these reasons. The buying experience on mobile is just too long and painful, right? Some of Vivid browser users might ask, what about the autofills? Autofills will always there. Of course, autofill helps. Autofills save about 30% of your user's time when you're checking out. It helps you autofill the shipping address, autofill some credit card information. But the autofills don't work on all sites, or at least not accurate enough, because sites have to do the supports, and not all sites do good job. And it's still too many clicks. You have to click on the input box, and then click on the next one that's not available. Something is wrong. You have to type. So there's still too many clicks. And the point to remember here is autofills have been existed in all major browsers since 2005. So what that tells us, that it's been more than a decade since autofills are supported by browser, but conversion rate is still 66% lower than desktop, right? So this is not the answer to improve the checkout. So what is the answer? We would like to think it is the new web standard APIs called payment request APIs. A payment request API is a cross-browser, cross-platform JavaScript API. It's a one single sheet checkout experience. So when a website uses this API and they click users ready to buy, it's one sheet checkout experience. So you don't have to go through multiple web pages and loads and to finish your order. So you can enter all the details here and payment information here, and you're ready to buy. So there's a lot more to learn about this payment request API. And to tell you more, I would like to invite our colleague, Dongwoo. Please give him a hand.
Thank you. Thank you, Mahesh, to introduce those things very well. And thanks a lot, everyone here, to visit the first conference ever. And I also very happy to talk in here in front of all of you. And please, I'm not a fluent English speaker, so please forgive me if I take some moment or some, maybe not moment, but maybe some seconds as I'm muted, then maybe I'm thinking some proper English words. So please allow me take some second. All right, so where's the next slide? So I want to show some demo first, and then we'll show you how we can make this kind of change on your website as easy as possible. So this is the payment sheet which Mahesh showed before. So this is the look on mobile browser, and this is the look on Dex Station. So as our VP mentioned on keynote today, if you were here, so Dex is the desktop experience of, so you can use our browser as same as desktop browser. So how many of you ever seen the Dex Station before? Okay, so most of hands are from Samsung employees. Okay, so this is Dex Station. So you can, just put your phone here, and it works as this kind of look and feel. And this is kind of old version. So new version is more smaller and flat. So we couldn't bring the new one. So you can find out online anytime. So let's start the demo. So let me change the cable to Dex. So this is the Samsung Internet on Dex Station. So yeah, hope it looks like desktop browser here. So this is our event today, and this is the demo page which Mahesh made for us. So just look around the Samsung product here, and let's try to buy one Gear S3 Classic watch. So you can see add card and buy now here. So to make it short, just click the buy now here. Then you can see the payment UI, which browser made. And actually, everything all set here. So you can just click pay and done. But for your understanding, I want to show the details here. So if you click the arrow here, you can see the detailed prices. And you also use your default shipping address, but you can still add more addresses if you want to send to your friend or your family. And you also can switch the shipping options. If you have only 1 day to get this, then you need to change to express shipping, which costs $10 more. If you click this, you can see updated marking here and change it to $300. And we can add payment method here. So yeah, one card is added there, and you can add more cards. And also, merchant can request some of the user's information, such as the email address here. So now all set. So let's click the pay button. Then we are using credit card, so it will request the CVC number. And let's just give 123, since this is demo. So click confirm. Then also our VP mentioned on the keynote this morning, Samsung Internet tried to protect your credit card number by using your biometric authentication. So no one can use your credit cards without your fingerprint. So let me try my fingerprint here. Oh, okay. Second chance. So all done. So that product will be shipped to your place. So you saw the payment UI and all the details. So let's go through the JavaScript code to see how you can create your website so that user can use this kind of UI. So here is some JavaScript code. So who are working by using JavaScript code here? Anyone? So, okay. So I'm actually browser developer who are using C++ and Java. Never used JavaScript before. So I'm actually a little bit worried that I need to go through this JavaScript code in front of you guys, like web developers. So let me go through this quickly as possible so that you cannot find any mistake. So the first thing is the payment method. So we actually added just basic card for that demo so that you can only see credit card. But we can add more payment methods such as Samsung Pay. And we will show you how Samsung Pay works with this API. So for the demo, we use the basic card. And for the details, I use the smartwatch, but this slide shows you Note 8 and the value of that product. And with the payment method information, which was basic card, and the details, which was the product information, you can make the payment request object. So just create the payment request object and create one .show function here. So payment request .show will called when user click the pay button, then the show API code, and if show API code, browser will make that the simple UI, which you've seen. And before call the show API, we recommend you to use can make payment API before to call show function, because this API is actually, as Mahesh mentioned, is based on standard and cross-platform, cross-browser, but there is some browsers doesn't support this API, and depends on what payment method you added. That payment method cannot be supported on that browser or on your phone at the moment. So you'd better check the can make payment before calling the show function. So if can make payment return false, then you can show that the traditional never-ending form checkout page. And as we've seen before, the merchant can ask some more user information, such as username, user phone number, email address, and this is request shipping or not, so that user can pick up rather than shipping. And you also seen I changing the shipping options, so you can add some shipping options with special values there. So if you want to drop shipping, if you are really in a hurry, in urgent situation, you can pay $25 more to get drone shipping. That's, yeah. So, actually, previous page, we created the payment request object with payment method and details. Now you can add options, which is really optional. So, payment request API is not in the future, it's here now, as you've seen our browser demo. Samsung Internet support this, Chrome support this, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Opera, all support this API. And now, our friend Apple support this currently. So we can literally say that most of browsers actually supporting this API, so that it's time to adopt this new API to your web pages or your merchant pages. And not only browsers, but also the payment providers start to adopt this API. So including Braintree, Stripe, Shopify, many providers are now support this API. So if your web page, your merchant page, use one of those providers, it's almost ready to use the new API. Okay, it's okay so far? All right. So now, I hope everyone has one question in your mind. I hope. How we can use Samsung Pay with this API? Is anyone has that question? All right, that's great. So let me introduce David Lim from Samsung Pay team.
Thanks, Dongwoo. Wow. So I'm excited to talk today about how Samsung Pay is taking advantage of payment requests to make web integrations very easy. Samsung Pay is the most secure and the most widely accepted digital wallet, and I'm going to spend just a few minutes on the next slide talking about some of our benefits. We currently support both Samsung Internet and Chrome, and as always, it's due to the great collaboration we have with the Internet team as well as our colleagues at Google. And I just wanted to throw out a few partners. You can go check out Samsung Pay today. You can buy an accessory at Shop Samsung. You can pay for gas using the SpeedPass app. You can actually use Samsung Pay anywhere where Visa checkout is enabled on the web, or you can buy a set of headphones at jbl.com. So why support Samsung Pay? These are just a few benefits, and I'm going to go through it very quickly. Number one, I think everyone here is familiar with using a digital wallet like Samsung Pay. You know how easy it is. Really, the only step you need to do is authenticate, whether it be through a fingerprint, an iris scan, or a PIN. No CVC codes, no passwords, no fumbling for your card. Number two, Samsung Pay is incredibly safe. It's built on top of our Knox platform, which is the gold standard for security. And we never share your payment data with merchants. Instead, we use tokens and one-time use cryptograms. And when you combine that with the authentication that we do with your bank when you first add a card, as well as the authentication that we do for each checkout, means it's very likely you who are making the purchase, and your data cannot be reused by a bad actor. Number three, Samsung Pay is actually the most widely accepted digital wallet. In large part, that's due to our support for both NFC as well as MST payments. I think everyone's familiar with NFC. You can tap at newer terminals. MST lets you shop at stores with older terminals where you still have to swipe your card. Our goal is for Samsung Pay to be usable everywhere that you shop today. And then number four, we have a ton of incredibly loyal users who maybe transact 30, 40, 50, 60 times a month. There's a lot of reasons for that, but one of the key ones that always comes to the top is our built-in rewards. So every time you use Samsung Pay, whether it be in-store or online, you get points. And these points are on top of the rewards you already get through your bank. And you can use them to buy gift cards, Samsung merchandise, enroll in sweepstakes. And it's an incredibly popular, incredibly sticky reason why people keep using Samsung Pay. These are just some reasons, but hopefully you have some interest now in why you want to support Samsung Pay on your website. I'm very briefly going to talk through the integration steps, but I do recommend go to this URL. It's at developer.samsung.com, and you can download our integration guide. And it'll cover what I discussed in a lot more detail. So very quickly, there's a couple logistical steps and then a couple integration steps that you need to complete. The first thing is to come to our self-service portal. It's here at pay.samsung.com/developers. And really, it just takes a minute or two. And our goal is to know who you are and what websites you want to add Samsung Pay to. The next step is to let us know who your payment gateway is. Now, who you select will slightly vary your integration. And I'll just very briefly talk about this. If you use a payment gateway like Adyen or WorldPay or First Data, they use what we call the network model. And this is where you will get a CSR file from your payment gateway. This is something they're prepared to give you. You just need to ask. You will upload it to our portal. And then during a checkout, we will use it to encrypt the token and cryptogram that we pass to you. So as part of the Samsung Pay response, you're going to get this encrypted blob, and you will pass that to your payment gateway, generally as is. They will decrypt it on your behalf, and then you can transact. Alternately, if you choose a payment gateway like Stripe, you will just let us know an identifier that Stripe has assigned to you. And during a transaction, after a user has authenticated, we will actually call Stripe on your behalf, pass them the cryptogram and token, get back a nonce, and as part of the Samsung Pay response, you get that Stripe nonce, you pass it to your merchant server, and then you can transact with it like you would any other Stripe nonce. Once you finish this onboarding step, and if you have this stuff ready, it honestly shouldn't take very long. You will be assigned a service ID, and it's just an alphanumeric string that uniquely identifies your integration. Once you have that, you're ready to actually integrate Samsung Pay. Dongwoo already covered how to enable a payment request and basic card. And really, to enable Samsung Pay, all you need to do is add us as an additional payment method. And I've included a sample here. The key here is our payment method URL. It's spay.samsung.com. There's some configuration data that you need to provide, just a few key ones. The product ID is that alphanumeric string I talked about from our portal. Things like card network, order number, merchant name, I think are very self-explanatory. There are some optional parameters you can request, things like billing address required. Our integration guide covers the optional parameters in more detail. And then the last one is the merchant gateway parameter. If you use a payment gateway like Stripe, you insert that identifier. And that's basically it. This is all you need to add as a payment method, and you have Samsung Pay enabled. Now, of course, if a user does use Samsung Pay as part of the payment request response, you're going to see some Samsung Pay data. And this is where you will either see that encrypted blob that you passed to your PG or that nonce you got back from Stripe. Pass that to your server, transact like normal. And that really is, that's the basics of enabling Samsung Pay. Payment request makes this incredibly easy once you've already done the work to enable Samsung Pay, payment request. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. Basically, there's two ways, even within payment request, to enable Samsung Pay. The first way that Dongwoo showed is I'll just call it the generic way. So you have a generic button, like just called checkout, behind which you've enabled basic card and any number of payment methods, Samsung Pay being one of them. So if you already support payment request on your site, we'd love to have Samsung Pay as another payment method, and it's as easy as we just showed. So a user clicks that generic checkout button, the payment sheet comes up. Samsung Pay will be one of the many payment methods that a user can use. And if they select Samsung Pay, they'll go to our payment sheet, authenticate, and they're done. Alternately, you can show us a branded Samsung Pay button. So at the top, I just showed a buy with Samsung Pay button. And we actually would like to recommend this for users who have Samsung Pay set up on their device. Because if they already have Samsung Pay on that device, then this is going to be the fastest and quickest way for them to check out. Mechanically, the way you do that is very easy. You would create a payment request object where Samsung Pay is the only payment method defined. So no basic card, no other payment methods. And what that will do is when someone clicks the Samsung Pay button, it's going to show the browser payment sheet, and Samsung Pay will be the only and pre-selected payment method. There's even a variation within that. So you can actually skip the browser payment sheet and go directly from button click to the Samsung Pay payment sheet if you don't require any data within payment options. So Dongwoo talked about payment options. This is where you can request things like payer email or payer phone. Just for example, let's say your site requires login to complete a checkout, so you already have this data. Then you can set these to false. So when you combine having a single payment method defined and these payment options set to false, what will happen is upon click of that button, you will go directly to the Samsung Pay payment sheet, authenticate, and you're done. At the end of the day, these are just options and tools for you to use. You know your customers the best. You know your checkout flow the best. You can find basically the optimal solution for your website. Before we go into some very quick videos, I just want to highlight some work we're doing with our partners at Braintree and Stripe. Later this year, obviously payment request is pretty simple, but for merchants who use these platforms, you will be able to go into their console, toggle on Samsung Pay. They will construct a payment request object on your behalf, pass in the necessary Samsung Pay parameters, and Samsung Pay will be enabled on your site. It'll be that easy. So we're very excited about that, and we'll share more information later this year. So I think that's it. Thank you for your time. I guess let's open it up to some questions.
Okay. Just before we go to questions,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
One last thing. Hello. Yeah. Before we wrap up, I know we're late. Just one last thing we would like to announce. Like you just saw, cool demos from David and Dongwoo, how payment sheet user can pay with credit cards, user can pay with Samsung Pay. They can also pay with any other third-party payment apps. So we're happy to announce that our next version of Samsung Internet is going to support third-party payment apps. That means basically like how you just saw people paying with them Samsung Pay, there could be another payment app that can integrate with browsers, and then it's also a standard. If any of you interested to learn more how to do that, please reach out. We're doing that. We're working first with the Tez. Tez is an UPI-based payment app, a very popular payment app in India, and support for paying with Tez from Samsung Internet is going to come soon. So yeah, that's all I wanted to announce. And yeah, if you have any questions, please reach out to the details there, or to learn more, just reach out to us, and we're happy to help.